Good evening. Good evening, Downingtown parents, guardians, family members. My name is Dr. Gary Mattei. I'm the Director of Technology here for the Downingtown Area School District. We are joined tonight with the Downingtown Tech Leadership Team and with our special guest tonight, Mr. Mike Jolly. He is joining us from Palm Beach, Charlotte, North Carolina. He is the General Manager of Securely, as well as their student safety expert. Mike and I had an opportunity to get to know each other when working together in a different district, and we're very pleased to have the Securely and the Securely team on board. Mike is going to be taking us through a brief series of slides to talk about how we keep students safe in the digital age, and then we'll end with some questions from parents who might be watching. This video is being recorded and will be available for later viewing for those who couldn't make it tonight. Having said that, Mr. Mike Jolly, please begin. It is a pleasure to have you tonight, sir. Thank you so much.
Gary, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with your parent community and the rest of the technology leadership team as well. So as Gary said, I'm with Securely. Securely is a student safety company. We've been around for almost 10 years, and we serve roughly 10 million students in the United States. So as a student safety company, one of the features we offer is Securely Home, which is an amazing app for parents. And so tonight, we want to walk through that app. And before we do that, though, we want to go through a few items that we've come to know at Securely over the last 10 years and working with school districts and working with parents. You know, we have parents voice concerns all the time. What do I do about this? Or how do I handle this? Or how can I keep my kids safe from X, right? Or what are the kids even looking at? So the main thing I want to do tonight is kind of, before walking through the app, is talk to you through some data, some information, trends, and then some tips for helping keep your children safer. I'm very passionate about what we do because I am a former educator. I was a teacher, and then I was a principal at the high school level outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And then more importantly than that, I'm a parent. So I have 2 school-age children in one of the largest districts in the United States, pushing 200,000 kids in the school district. They both have school district technology that they take home with them basically every single night. And so I understand as a parent what that is like. I understand how amazing it is that the districts are able to provide these incredible tools, but I also know with those tools comes some responsibilities and things that parents want to have. So with that, the first thing I want to mention is talk about why there are web filters like Securely out there, and it's because of the Child Internet Protection Act. So part of your school district using Securely is to make sure they are compliant. And what the Child Internet Protection Act did, it came out in the year 2000, and the whole goal was to address obscene content. We all know the internet can be a great place. The internet can be a hilarious place, but the internet can also be a dangerous and scary place. And so when students are using school-owned technology, school-owned accounts, the government has stepped in and said school districts need to take certain steps to make sure the kids are safer. So again, there are requirements for the protection measures that are put in place. As you see on the screen, they must block or limit that access to the pictures that are seeing child pornography or harmful content. So that's what we're here to do at our core with Securely in your school district, is to help keep you SEPA compliant. So moving into our conversations with parents, we've been serving parents for years. We have millions of parents active on the app we're going to talk about tonight, and we hear feedback. We send surveys to parents. We do parent presentations. We do on-site. There's lots of times because we want that interaction and we want to know what parents are concerned with. So based on some of the information we've taken over the last couple of years, when we talk about parents and what are their real concerns with digital safety, these are some of the most common things we see. If you look on the right, one is exposure to inappropriate content other than pornography, right? We all understand that pornography is a concern, but there's also things that are highly inappropriate, things that are extremely violent. You name it, there are other things out there that parents are concerned about their children seeing. Contact with strangers. I think, with schools going remote, I've seen lots of stories, even in my home state of North Carolina, of adults finding ways to communicate with kids and bad things happen, right? And so we want to make sure that we show parents how they can stop that and how they can also converse with their children. And also bullying. Cyberbullying is huge. We talk about how great it is to have devices and technology at your fingertips, but it also has led to a rise in kids harassing others. You know, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and if somebody was bullying me, I could walk home a different way. You know, I could move to a different spot in the cafeteria. I could escape it on some level with a little bit of effort, but now it's relentless, right? You know, as a principal, I remember a dad and his daughter sitting in front of me, and a student had tweeted out an unflattering image of her with some pretty nasty verbiage, and hundreds of kids had seen it before it was taken down and liked it and retweeted. And I just remember that young girl crying in my office saying, you know, Mr. Jolly, how do I walk into class tomorrow? How do I go into the cafeteria again? Right. And those are real things. So, you know, again, these tools are great, but there also needs to be ways for parents to help protect their children from these things and have conversations about them. The next thing I want to talk about is aside from those things that we know parents, you know, are really concerned about, we have some major topics that parents really want to know more about. And these are inquiries we get. One of the biggest is ways to protect my child's privacy online. We all know all the stories, election, everything, right? Facebook, you name it in the news, everything about personal privacy and personal data. So parents have a right and a very legitimate concern when it comes to privacy. 36% there, how to protect my child from approaches, as we mentioned earlier, from strangers online, how to prevent or respond to negative online incidents, and also how to act. Signs and symptoms of a child experiencing negative incidents. Over half of kids who are bullied or harassed online don't report it. Over half don't report it. And there's lots of reasons, right? One of the most common reasons students will answer on surveys that they don't tell is they don't want their technology taken away. They figure if they tell mom and dad I've been bullied on via text or on social media, they may cancel my account or take that away. And so they actually, to continue to use the things they like, they subject themselves to more of that. So again, parents need to know, because a kid might not come out and say it. Might, hey, mom, dad, I'm being harassed. So they need to be able to look for those signs. And then how to talk to a child about inappropriate content. Trust me, it is hard. We had a scenario where my youngest daughter on a school bus, a phone got passed around and there were images on that phone. And that's a hard conversation for any parent to have with a young child of those things. But that's, you know, where we live in. And so it's important as a parent that you have those age appropriate conversation skills. And again, you're going to have a different conversation with your third grader than you are your 11th grader, right? But it's the idea of how to open that conversation and then manage those details based on what you know about your children. So here's some of the main tips that I think are some really good takeaways. One, just talk to students, talk to your kids about it, right? There are free resources, Common Sense Media. If any parents out there have ever used it, they have ratings for video games. They have ratings for movies, TV shows, resources. But there's a Mayo Clinic, right? They offer things. So there's lots of free resources that will give you as a parent, here's a parent's guide, or here's parent tips and tricks when it comes to, you know, cyberbullying and how to handle that, and how importantly, how to talk to your kids. It's hard to talk to your kids sometimes. Encourage students to tell an adult, right? It doesn't have to be you. Just tell somebody. We know we talked just a minute ago about the percentage that won't report it. So we want kids to feel comfortable. Look, even if you don't want to come to mom or dad, go to Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so at school, go to coach, whatever. You know, make sure that there is somebody that they feel confident and comfortable sharing that with. Do keep cyberbullying messages. You know, kids get text messages, they get something via social media. You know, you can screenshot those things, you know, keep them. Unfortunately, we live in a time where you may have to have evidence, you know, of something when it comes to helping, whether it's the school district or even worst case scenario, law enforcement handle those things. You know, and again, we talk law enforcement, things that get of a threatening, you know, or sexual in nature. Then block the person that's been sending those, right? Don't subject yourself. You know, you've got your evidence, then block it to prevent those things from coming in. And then the next bullet gets into, you know, privacy and security and even a little bit of bullying. Don't tell your password to things. We see it all the time at Securely. You know, somebody in school tells their friend their password to something because they got to get in for a homework, and then all of a sudden the student's sending emails from another student's account or stealing lunch funds from there's just nothing good comes from students sharing their passwords, whether it's the school password to the internet or their lunch number or social media accounts. You know, kids are naive, you know, and they think, well, so-and-so is my friend and they may be my best friend today. They may be my girlfriend today. And I trust them with everything, but they won't be the next day. And that can lead to some really tough situations for kids and parents when kids get access, other kids get access to social media accounts, email accounts, even things that deal with money. And there's more and more online cash apps too, right, that are sharing things. So lots of things can go down the rabbit hole and go wrong when it comes to sharing passwords. So it's a very important conversation to have very early on with your kids is don't share that information. Also, not sharing things through text or instant messaging, cell phone or internet. They don't want public. Again, we talk about the trust factor. Kids are trusting. They think so-and-so's the greatest person on earth and will never do me wrong. But you've got to have that concept that once you share it, it's there. Again, we talked about screenshots. It can become something that is permanent and always out there. If you watch the news, you see celebrities, taken down for things they said 10, 15 years ago. So it's very important for kids to understand. Kids getting, I saw a couple years ago, Harvard rescinded multiple acceptances to students because some racist conversations in a Facebook group opened up, right? So again, all those things matter, and you don't want your kid to work hard enough to be successful and get a scholarship or a job one day and have all that crumble because of something, a bad decision they made in their past with sending something electronically. Don't share things, and I'm not even talking passwords, but personal information, where you live, your address, stuff like that with people you meet online, because it's could be somebody that they say they are not. And then have those times, it's really hard, but have times when they turn off technology, such as, your family meals, your device-free dinner is what we call it in my house, or a certain time. And one of the beautiful things about Securely Home app that we'll talk about is it gives you a seamless way to do that. We hear parents say, look, I'm prying that Chromebook out of their hand, or I'm prying that iPad. I don't want them using it. And we give you a simple way to just disconnect it from the internet, which alleviates a lot of those concerns that parents will have. And then the last one on here is really encourage the concept of see something, say something via anonymous reporting. Most communities have those, whether it goes to the police or school district, but kids know, right? Kids know whether it's going to be a party at somebody's house this weekend because the parents are out of town, or when you get darker, they're going to know somebody may want to harm somebody, right? You see things over and over in acts of school violence, and they interview students after the fact. And the students say, oh yeah, we knew that, so-and-so was saying this for years, or those things. So make sure that students are comfortable reporting those things. So again, great tips. I'll leave it up for just a second. And then next we transition into three conversations. Again, it's not easy to talk to kids normally. Even sometimes what did you learn today? How was school? What do you want for dinner? Sometimes those even get tough. So when you're a parent and you're looking at other things, it becomes hard. And again, this is kind of the new version of don't talk to strangers. With my parents, it was don't go near vans, with blinds in the window, or strangers with candy. But this is a very important conversation. So when you want to start that conversation, here's some great questions, right? The first one, when you're online, has anyone you don't know ever tried to contact you? That's a very easy, nice question that can open the lines of communication without jumping right into something bad. Just a simple opening there. And then what did you do about that, right? Or if it does happen, how would you act? And then why do you think someone would want to reach a kid online? Again, without being too dark, depressing about the world, but kids need to know that there are some dangers out there. And so those 3 points can help you kind of get to that. And then you want to, you can lean on the point that it's easy to pretend to be someone you're not online. That's why a lot of people like being online, because it is a whole different world for them. And they can make new personas and do a lot of things, whether that's gaming or what have you, but it can also be for some not great purposes. And then make sure you're blocking and ignoring anything that comes in from someone you don't know. I think that last point, when you know them in real life, doesn't take away all danger, but we've talked to a lot of different organizations through the years at Securely, and that's one of the things they harp on is, talk to people you know. You don't have to be scared of everybody who's a stranger, but when you're really getting close, make sure that's a real life person and not just someone in a picture on the internet that you've never met, but they've sent you 1,000 messages. The next one is the power of a picture. Has anyone ever sent a picture of themselves that got passed around school or team or club, just to get them thinking about this? And by the time they're in upper elementary or middle school, they're probably going to say yeah. And again, it doesn't have to be, we're not talking a nasty picture, but just something that may be embarrassing or a little inappropriate. What's possible anytime you send someone a picture, you really want their wheels turning internally to know that, oh, it is possible that that could be out there forever. And I can never get that back, and I can never stop that potentially. What if a picture was embarrassing? And then can you think about how someone would use that kind of picture against a person? And again, that's more as you get a little older, your upper middle school, high school type questions, but they're very important for kids to start to understand how powerful pictures can be, how much they can impact your life currently, and how much they can impact your life down the road. And then the last is just letting them know, as we talk about opening those lines of communication, the whole I'm here to help, right? Just reiterating that over and over and over, that I'm here to help. Hey, I read an article today about kids being pressured to send images or videos of someone they met online. Does anything like that ever happen at your school? It doesn't even have to be targeted to your child, right? You can talk about this in terms of someone else, but then relate that to them. How would you do that? Sometimes they're being threatened, harassed, or scary stuff. If you're ever feeling like something like that's going on, online or off, it feels scary, it feels wrong, it's just not appropriate for you, I want to help you, come to me. So, right, so and this is the kind of stuff that you can find with those resources like Common Sense Media, or even if just Googling, right, talking to my kids about bullying, or other age appropriate things. You can get great resources. But that's ultimately what I want to talk about there. The next thing I want to dive into is actually looking at Securely Home now. And now that we've talked about some of these dangers, some of these scary things, I want to talk about how, particularly on the school-owned device, as a parent at home, you can help battle some of that. And I'll do that with the app. The first thing I want to mention is, if you have not installed the app, it is very simple to do. The school district has already uploaded your information. It's there, it's free. All you have to do, you would have got an email from Securely. You don't even have to access that again. All you have to do is go to the App Store on your respective device, iOS or Android, and go to Securely Home. So if you go to Securely Home in the App Store, you download it, and then it'll walk you through a set of prompts, and you'll be able to send yourself an email. And what that will do is it will just click an email back out to you that gives you access. So it's a very easy process. Again, the district has already done all the legwork. They've got you signed up. You're in the system. So don't worry about if you don't have anything at this point. All you need to do is install the app and follow the prompts, and then use the school email address that they have on file is the one you would enter in, and it's going to send you that link. So once you do all that, you're in the app, you're ready to rock and roll. And what I want to do is walk you around in kind of the navigation. The first part I want to focus on is the activity feed that you see here. And what you're going to see in your child's activity feed is the last 30 days of activity, right? So, and this is activity on their school device. This isn't on personal devices. We're not monitoring anything outside of that. We are monitoring the device that your district has issued to your child or children. So when they're doing searches on the devices, we're going to see those. We're going to see the sites they visit, videos they watch, and we're going to be able to show those to you via this app. And this is not about spying, right? I want to be very clear. This is not about spying on your children. This is not about trusting your children. This is about parenting, right? This is about understanding that everybody's got a responsibility to teach kids responsible use of the internet, just like you teach them responsible use of a car. When my daughters are learning to drive and they've got their permit, I'm sitting in that passenger seat. And if they're veering to hit a car, I'm not going to let them hit a car to teach them a lesson, or a tree. I'm going to grab the wheel and straighten it out. And that's the whole idea behind Securely Home is, as a parent, you have the information, you can see what the kids are doing, and then use that information how you need. If you do see some concerning things, by all means, grab the wheel and have that conversation. But it's also a great tool if you just want to know what they're doing, because kids don't always want to talk about school. I feel like a failure sometimes as an educator when the girls get in the car and I say, "What'd you learn today?" And they say, "Nothing, Dad." And then I can say, "Well, that's not true. Tell me you were learning about Joan of Arc. I saw you searching about her. Who was she? What's so neat about her? Why would you learn about her in school?" And so we hear great information from parents all the time. It's actually one of my favorite things we do at Securely when we survey parents is reading through the narrative responses that they do. And it's just great information. And they're just raving about being able to connect with their kids and talk about what they learned, because they want to talk about what their kids are learning. But sometimes it's hard for parents to have the information. And the home app, the activity feed, gives you that information to be able to engage. I want to walk you through a few things here. You'll see the searches, as you'll see the example with the Google search for Cool Math Games. It's going to be time stamped. So you can see that Mike Jolly Jr. searched for that this afternoon. So it'll say 12/2, 3/24. You're also going to see some sites. You'll see the freemathhelp.com that you see the time that was visited. And you can also click the three little dots and you can visit the website. It'll take you directly to it. Or you can copy the address if you want to use the restricted control we'll talk about in a minute. So there's some great options here. There's also, you again, seeing the sites. I can see the little video icon and know that Mike Jolly Jr. watched Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a Bill. So again, you can see, actually, you don't just know they went to YouTube, you can actually see the link if they watched a video while they were there. And again, push this, it'll take you right to that link. You can watch the same video. I know what Schoolhouse Rock is, but let's say it was a video I didn't know. I could simply push it and I'm able to watch it on my device and know what my kids saw today. So great information here. Again, 30 days of activity. If you have multiple children in the district, you will see them listed at the top where you see my name, and then you can select which child you want to look at. So you can actually drill down if you have multiple kids and look at them individually through the app. So that is the activity feed. The second piece is flagged activity. Currently, there's no flagged activity in this app, but what this means is if the child is searching for things that are related to self-harm or violence or depression, things that parents should know about, right? Why do I feel sad? Why am I depressed? Even worse off, why do I want to hurt myself? Again, we don't want to get too dark, but those are certainly serving tyranny in kids, things we see because we know it's hard. It's hard to be a kid, and suicide is the second leading cause of death for middle and high school age kids in the United States today. So it's very important that if those things are going on, that we flag them and that you as a parent can see those called out in this separate flagged activity section. And not only will they be in this section, you can configure push notifications through your mobile device. So if you want to know, if I want a real-time push notification if my child has flagged activity related to self-harm or grief or violence, then it's going to come right to me and say, check this activity out. There's something that may need your attention. So great features there. The next feature is rules. And I will click on rules. And what rules allows you to do in your district? It allows you to make the filtering more strict, right? So your district has everything based and protected on the law, things that, obscene material, things you're not supposed to see. And then in addition to obscene material, there are things that districts determine shouldn't be viewable on a school device, right? These just aren't things, it's not maybe pornography or not adult content, but it's something else that shouldn't be accessed on a school-owned device. So the district makes those decisions. And then outside of that, you're able to then block things in addition. So if you want to make this more strict, the filtering, you can absolutely do that. And you'll do that with categories. And these are just examples. You'll see the categories here. When you open the app, it'll be set to how your district has it blocked, that's there. And any category that is not blocked, you'll be able to click. When you use the example of streaming media, you'll see it's green. If you were able to see that, you could click that and block it. Now you can't unblock the other things. You can unblock, gambling, the anonymous proxies. There's other things that you'll see grayed out and blocked to have the peace of mind that your district's taking good care and keeping your child safe. But you can make it more strict. And then the same with the allow and block lists. This is a great tool. You'll see some examples here, coolmath.com, Discord. Let's say my child loves sports and, sports aren't bad, but he's failing algebra. And I need him to get off of ESPN.com. I can type in the site and now it's blocked, right? And when I say blocked, it is not blocked at school. I want to be very clear that these settings only apply when the district device is off campus. So when the device is at school, the school rules and school filtering applies. When the device is off campus, then parent rules apply. And that's obviously because if you have a philosophy that differs outside of school, you're able to then put those additional restrictions in place. If you want to allow your child, when the algebra grade comes up, and you can say, look, yes, you can access ESPN and Cool Math again, you just simply click the X beside the site, and then it's going to open back up out there. So that's how allowing and blocking works. The next piece I want to look at is the offline schedules. And this is what I refer to as, bedtime, device-free dinner, whatever you have it, you're able to go in, and it's really simple. There's toggles starting with school nights. Let's say I want my child's device to shut off for my high school kid at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6:30. I set it, I save it, and now the device at that time, each school night, is going to disconnect from the internet. And keep in mind, there is a safety net on this. So if you forget you set the time wrong or something, it's gonna unpause and access the internet when the device does go back on campus. The last thing I want to show you here is pause internet. This allows you, let's say, for example, you see some notifications of your child doing some concerning activity and you're at work. You know, parents work, right? Kids are sometimes at home after school. You can hit pause internet, and in real time that you can kick them off the internet while they're at home and actually stop that activity from happening. So a really neat feature. It's designed to be there as a safety net if you need to immediately stop access, whether you're with your child 2 feet away at the kitchen table or you're across town while you're at work and they're at home. And then you just simply unpause it as I showed there. So that is the main functionality. Again, to recap, you have the activity feed, 30 days of activity on the school device, the sites they visit, the searches they conduct, the videos they watch. You have flagged activity, which are searches or sites that are related to self-harm, depression, grief, violence. You have the rules, which the district has given you the ability to make things more strict than they are based on the school policy. And then you have the offline schedules and pause, which give you kind of control over screen time in the palm of your hand. The last thing I'll note here is stories. The stories is a really neat feature. It's new. It's basically like stories in LinkedIn, like stories on Instagram or Facebook. It's going to give you a picture of what your child's doing. So it gives you a nice little breakdown each day. So you can see any videos that are watched will be laid out here. The items that were searched will be laid out in one, then the activity. So 70% of my child's activity day was searches. They spent 10% of their online time on YouTube. So again, information that parents want to know to kind of get an idea of, you know, where their kids are going and what they are doing. Another important thing I want to show you is the help feature. So if you run into, how do I block this? Or I tried to block this and it didn't work. You know, we want you to reach out to us and we can assist in that, because with technology, with software, things happen. Sometimes there are issues, right? And we want to be able to work through those with you if there's an anomaly or a bug with a release. So you can simply click on help. There's a whole list of FAQ articles for parents to read, but there's also the support button. And when you click on support, you just fill out your information, and that's going to go to our parent support team, and our parent support team will then be able to give you guidance. There are some things that the parent support team will say, well, actually, we can't do that. You need to go back and see the school. We can handle most things, but sometimes there may be an anomaly. Maybe you're not seeing your child's activity, you know, and they need to check something on the device or check something with the setup. So sometimes there are things we can't answer. Another feature we cannot do is we cannot let you add another guardian. That request has to go through the school. And while I mentioned that, that's due to privacy. So Securely, we are great stewards of your data. And I'm not saying that because I work for Securely. I'm saying that because we have SOC 2 certification, that's SOC. So SOC 2, type 1 and type 2 certification from third party. We also have I Keep Safe certification for FERPA. And what that means is Securely, every year we go through an annual certification from multiple outside third parties to make sure we are not only following laws, but we are being great stewards of your data. More and more states are coming out with strict data privacy laws, and we understand that, and we want to meet those. You know, the school and parents walk a fine line between privacy and safety, right? What does my child do that needs to stay private, you know, in their business? But then what needs to be escalated? Again, with those things around grief or self-harm and some of that stuff that kids they're not equipped to be able to handle yet and think about. So that's what we do. The last thing I want to leave you with before we jump into questions is, you know, web filtering is not a perfect science. There are new websites every single day, not just one or two. There are lots of new websites. There are changes that go on with the device makers, with other things. You know, we are hosted on Amazon Web Services. So there are lots of different factors that can come to play with that. So keep in mind, we are doing everything we can to constantly keep up with new sites that are coming out. We categorize those every single day. We use a variety of tools to help categorize, one of those being artificial intelligence. And that's a way to help us look at those thousands or millions, sites that are coming out every year and determine students in Downingtown should get to this, students should not get to this. But again, it's not a perfect science. And so if you run across anything ever that's concerning, reach out to us, reach out to the school district. We want to make sure that, if there are issues, they're stopped quickly. If there's any other problems, you can address those. So it is a cat and mouse game as anything with kids, that they're doing. And we always want to make sure that we're staying abreast of what's new with what the kids are doing. We want to keep them safe, and we want to connect you. We want to make sure you as a parent have those tools. So hopefully the conversation tonight has shown you a little bit more insight into how to use the app appropriately. And then also hopefully, those tips and tricks and some of that information will help you kind of reflect on maybe some conversations that you can have with your children that would be helpful. And Gary, I'll turn it back over to you at this
Mike,
point.
that was a great overview. That was very helpful and very clear. Thank you. I want to remind our parents, guardians, and family members that are watching live here on December 2nd that on the DASD.org website at the top, there's currently a banner up. The agenda is listed for tonight's event, and within there's an opportunity for you to ask live questions. So we're going to give parents that are watching live an opportunity to submit those questions. And Mike, I'd like to ask you a few questions we've heard in the past 3 or 4 weeks since Securely's gone live. One of the questions we have a lot is, DASD is great at providing this device, and they provide lots of resources for our students, but sometimes the resources that you provided, our kids are misusing. And let me give you some examples we've heard. My kid has shared a Google Doc and inappropriate things were said. My student used Schoology messaging and their feelings were hurt. Or Zoom chat was used in an inappropriate or bullying way. Mike, what would you say to parents and also to the district to make that situation better?
Sure. I would say, one, the situation will never go away, right? That's when a tool is given out, students, somebody will find a way to abuse it, right? And that's not, because we're saying people are evil, but that's just the nature of things, right? When good things come out, somebody will find a way to misuse it. You look at any tool that you use, I guarantee you there's somebody who has found a way to misuse it, right? And so there are some ways that we can stop those, but I want to be very clear. You can't stop everything. Securely does a great job of allowing districts to be proactive by giving these tools, letting parents monitor screen time, letting parents block sites, letting parents see what their kids are doing. But there's always going to be something that happens, right? And that's why the first part of this conversation tonight was so important, because you can't proactively prevent everything. The as best effort as you put down, something can still happen. And so you need, as a parent, to make sure you've already had these conversations with your children. So if the proactive measures that your district has taken don't prevent everything, and that happens, your child will be better equipped to deal with it, and you'll be better equipped to deal with it in those scenarios. So that's what I would say, Gary, is, again, your district is doing amazing things. We've talked about those, and you're doing the right stuff to put students in position to be safe, to give them great tools. But again, great tools get misused, even by the best of students. And so we just want to make sure that everybody understands that that's why these conversations around bullying, sharing your information, being kind, right? Just to be kind to your fellow classmates and adults. All those things are also very important to have, because no technology, Gary, is ever going to stop everything.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Mike. What words of encouragement would you have with a parent who is struggling to confront their child with the activity they see? Sometimes where the district's put in a position to really help parents parent, what would you say to us, or what would you say to those parents who need some encouragement?
Yeah, practice. And I'm not kidding. Scripting, one of the most effective things that I've done. I'm a certified trainer for Crucial Conversations, which is a program to help, again, high stakes conversations that need to be had that are uncomfortable. And I think one of the most successful tips from that is to script things and be objective, right? And practice them. When you don't get in front of your kid and never have thought about it and just let your emotions take over, because I know I've been emotional with my kids when they do certain things. But you want to take as much emotion out of it as possible. And it's not going to be possible to remove it all, but remove as much as possible. Think about the situation, put the facts down, and objectively present those in a calm manner to your child. And they still may not like it. They still may get upset. Mom, you're spying on me. Dad, you're spying on me. But that conversation of, hey, Mike Jr., I saw these 3 sites, right? Be objective. I saw these 3 sites in the history. I saw this blocked activity, or I saw you search for X, Y, and Z this afternoon. And hey, I want to make sure everything is okay. You can talk to me. So it's not a, how dare you search for this? I didn't raise you that way. It's a, hey, I saw this. What's it about? Are you okay? Open up. Do you need to talk to me or somebody? And nothing's foolproof, as we said a lot, Gary, but I think that's been a very useful tip. And when we hear from parents, that's really helped them as well to be calm, take emotion out of it, and then be objective and use facts, use data that they have to have those discussions.
Again, super helpful, Mike. I want to remind the parents who are watching live and also those who are watching recording that we took parent 1 and parent 2, so the primary parent and guardians from Infinite Campus. That was the information we provided securely to give you access to the app. And parents, if you haven't downloaded the app yet, you should have received 2 or 3 emails on Sunday nights into Monday mornings with a brief summary of your child's activity from Securely. It's not the full activity feed that Mike just showed us. It's a summary. And as part of that summary, it says, hey, if you want a full look at what your children are doing, please download the app. And I want to encourage all parents to do that. We have a dashboard as tech administrators here in Downingtown, and we can see how many parents have downloaded that app. We want to see more parents download that app. We want to get to 100% of our parents to have downloaded that app. And we're just at about 13%. So we want to encourage all of those families out there to access that app if they haven't yet done so. And don't just rely on that weekly summary. Just go ahead and take a look at that app, set up those alerts to help your kids be safe while on a DASD device at home. I'm looking at our team here. Have any questions been submitted yet to Parents Live? And that's okay. We don't have any live questions. Let me ask one more. Mike, at the end of the school year, and we roll into the next school year, if parents still have kids in the system, do they have to do anything new as their kids move from building to building or year to year?
Not a thing. They don't have to do a single thing. The app will stay live. The second the student starts using the district device again, whenever that happens, when school kicks back up, the app will start to be populated with data again. So not a single action step on the parents. And if you have a new child, let's say you have a 3rd grader and a rising kindergartner, when the district updates that system and enrolls them, that will be sent out automatically as well. So they will be, if you already have the app, you will just see your new child magically show up on the day the district, enrolls the new student data. So you don't have to, it's a great question, Gary, you don't have to do a single thing.
And that would be true for the students who keep their devices over the summer. Securely is going to work all summer as well. And parents could use those schedules or the pause function if they want to give their child a break from the internet and send them outside to play. Excellent.
Absolutely correct.
Excellent. So it doesn't look like we have any live questions. So we'd like to thank Mr. Mike Jolly, who's joined us tonight from Securely, the general manager and the student safety expert there at Securely, for joining us tonight. Mike, we hope to see you again, maybe in future years, doing future presentations. We have just started this relationship with Securely. We want more parents to access it. We want to keep all our kids safe online. And we're going to be continuing to layer on products in the new calendar year, 2022, as those are made available to help keep our kids safe online. Any parting words of wisdom for us, Mr. Jolly?
Use the app. Just, use it. Don't be scared of it. Use the app and talk to your kids. Show them you care, and it's going to take care of a lot of it.
That is excellent advice, and I certainly want to echo that and encourage parents to download that app, and please do dig into it. Mike, thank you for your time tonight. We wish you well. We're going to be signing off tonight. We want to thank all those parents who watched us live and those who will watch the recorded version at a later date.